Even know that just came together. What a wonderful city we have in San Bernardino, that everybody was so thoughtful and did care about their safety. They were just worried about the community and their house, the houses on this street. Thank you, everyone, for helping save my home.
That's great. Sandy, I think I heard you, and I'm sorry I interrupted you. I think you were reading a list of people. You were trying to send a shout out to people who helped you and perhaps your husband save your home. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
You're very calm right now, but if you could paint a picture for us of what your emotions are in this moment and what you're seeing around you. I mean, there's nothing more personal than home, right? That goes to the heart of all of us.
Right. Yeah, I felt like a cry. I really thought my house was going to be gone. I've been here 12 years, and the street is so nice. The neighbors are so wonderful.
And you said your husband is now in your backyard actively. He's deciding to.
He was in my backyard. He stayed the whole time in the backyard watering. We watered.
We're obviously having some signal.
Came out.
Having some signal challenges right there. You can imagine all of the technical issues right now. We thank Sandy Schneider. Glad that her house at least seems to be okay so far. It's interesting, Laura, in these scenarios, even though firefighters can tell you it's a mandatory evacuation, you still don't have to leave. And we see in each one of these incidents, some people do stay behind to try to hose down their homes and protect their homes and feel like this is my property. I'm going to do whatever it takes to protect it. Sometimes that works and they're able to save their properties, and sometimes you know, there can be tragic situations from that as well. Right. This gentleman, it sounds like, decided to do that, and so far he's been able to protect his home, but his neighbor's not so lucky.
Right. We've seen instances, of course, where people get trapped in the fire and they can't get out. Oftentimes there's only one way out, and when you're covering these stories, you'll see all the huge apparatus. They line up on the street and they can pretty much take the whole street. That's why they're telling you to get out of there. They need to get access, they need to get the hose to pull it in and to have that water source to put in those flames. So if your cars or your person is in the way, you know, this is all an impediment to trying to put this out. But we're watching this live right now. Just yeoman's duty right there on the scene, right, Alex?
Yeah, and we see some of those firefighters on the ground doing their work as this particular home burns. We believe at least 3 homes have burned. It's tough to tell if there are more, and it's also tough to tell exactly what's a home or what could be a guest house, or some of that is also a little challenging in the sort of fog of war of this firefight. But at least 3 homes destroyed in this Edgehill Fire, which is the Shandon Hills neighborhood of San Bernardino. You know, the firefighters doing the best they could to limit it to that. At this point, thankfully, we don't see the massive movement of the flames. It appears that sort of it's burning where it's burning, and we don't see, you know, the urgency that we saw maybe an hour and a half ago. But the effort right now is to try to stop this thing so that we don't see embers pick up and that more homes catch on fire.
And that certainly is the good news, because at this point, at least, it doesn't appear to have expanded. The fire seems to still be in the same place, and they seem to be making a little bit of headway. Obviously, you know, some of the homes are not going to be able to be saved, but there's been no reports, to the best of my knowledge, of anybody injured or killed, which you always have to try to keep that in perspective. It's very, very upsetting to lose your home, but far more upsetting to lose your loved ones.
Right, and so that is what we're looking at now. We are seeing more white smoke, which is a good sign, which we didn't see as much of, or really see any, about 45 minutes or so ago when we first came on the air with this. So, you know, things are calming down a bit, but, you know, still not good news for the at least 3 families that lost their homes, if not more. And this neighborhood is, in terms of rebuilding this, is going to be impacted for a very long time by the scars of this fire. So we continue to watch this active firefight that is underway right now in San Bernardino County. When you look at the homes that are still intact, you get a size of the sort of breadth and depth of these homes. This is an affluent neighborhood, very large homes that you imagine potentially many people are living in as well, and that makes this thing a complicated firefight.
Yeah, there are a lot of bedroom communities. I don't know our proximity to the freeway, but oftentimes when I'm going to cover stories, I'm pretty amazed at how many miles I drive off the freeway. And I'll go back into these country roads where the homes are lovely. Sometimes they have horses. People move here because they want space. They want greater square footage. And they're right there up against nature. So on a beautiful night, you can look out and enjoy all of nature's glory. And then you have a day like today where nature comes a knocking, and it's not good news, right? You're in harm's way. So this is the flip side of that coin, and the good people of the fire department on the scene right now doing their very best to contain the damage here, to save lives and save homes.
And we have this up on the screen again. The evacuation center is at Marshall Elementary School. So if you or your loved ones live in this community, you're being urged to head there, where there will be resources in place to try to help you out, and not just hang out in the neighborhood as this active firefight is underway. At this point, it's probably harder to get into the neighborhood because there are roadblocks and things in place. When the sort of thing first starts, you kind of have to make a choice. You're either going to stay or you're going to leave. And for those that stay, then they're kind of in it for the foreseeable future. And some folks have decided to do that.
And people get really upset. They get very upset when they can't go home, and there can be some very animated discussions when emergency personnel tell them they can't go into their own neighborhood. But it's for their own safety. It's for the safety of their pets and their loved ones.
Well, and speaking of safety, so our chopper only has a limited amount of fuel and has been up